Chapter 2591. Swoosh. Swoosh. The metal ball was extremely fast. It was like a bolt of golden lightning as it flew around the cave. The four of them were unable to stop it. Stay here. Lu Ming used his sovereign Dao to cover the area as he tried to grab the metal ball. The metal ball seemed to be afraid as it quickly retreated. Xian Yanjuan was on the other side. She reached out her hand and was about to grab the metal ball. However, the metal ball suddenly expanded and became a large ball with a diameter of a few meters. It collided with Xian Yanjuan's palm. Boom! There was a loud explosion and Xian Yanjuan's body shook as she was pushed back. What a terrifying power! Everyone's hearts trembled. Although Xian Yanjuan's cultivation was only at rank 1 empty god realm, her divine power was strong enough to fight against a rank 4 empty god realm expert. However, she was pushed back by the metal ball. The metal ball was pushed back by Xian Yanjuan and it flew towards Tong Shi-er. Tong Shi-er's face changed. She did not have Xian Yanjuan's power. A long sword appeared in her hand and she stabbed it towards the metal ball. However, at that moment, a shocking scene appeared. A big mouth suddenly appeared on the smooth surface of the metal ball. The golden and dazzling metal formed fangs. The mouth opened and bit towards Tong Shi-er's long sword. There was a cracking sound and Tong Shi-er's long sword was bitten off. The metal ball swallowed the front part of the sword and started to chew. This, Lu Ming and the others looked at each other. Tong Shi-er's long sword was a sacred weapon. Although it was only a lower rank 1 sacred weapon, it was extremely hard. However, the metal ball had bitten off her sword and was eating it. How could the metal ball be so powerful? What made them even more speechless was that there was a pair of eyes above the metal ball's mouth. The eyes were squinted and it looked like it was enjoying itself. It was a metal ball that had intelligence. The few of them had the same thought. Treasure, this was definitely a treasure. A lump of metal actually gave birth to intelligence. It was definitely extraordinary. Swoosh. Swoosh. Everyone moved again and pounced toward the metal ball. However, the metal ball was very slippery and smart. It seemed to have noticed that Tong Shi-er was the weakest among the four of them, so it charged directly at her. Tong Shi-er no longer dared to use her divine artifact to attack. She could only circulate her divine power and wrap it around the metal ball. However, the power of the metal ball was extremely shocking. With a single collision, it knocked away Tong Shi-er's god force. Tong Shi-er's body trembled as she was knocked away. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Her strength was not enough to fight against this metal ball. However, Lu Ming arrived just in time. He waved his hand, and his sovereign power formed a giant hand that grabbed at the metal ball. The metal ball seemed to be extremely fearful of the sovereign's power, and a look of fear appeared in its eyes as it quickly retreated. Lu Ming, this metal ball seems to be afraid of your sovereign power. I'll trap it while you grab it. Xian Yanqing shouted. Her whole body was filled with black light. Numerous black lotuses appeared and pressed down on the metal ball. On the other side, Xian Yanjuan also attacked with all her might. Numerous snow-white lotuses appeared and pressed down on the metal ball. Swoosh! The metal ball charged toward Xian Yanqing and collided with the black lotuses. Bam! Bam! Those lotus flowers kept exploding. However, after they exploded, even more lotus flowers appeared and blocked the metal ball. Lu Ming rushed over and grabbed with both hands. His sovereign power formed a giant net that enveloped the metal ball. The metal ball was directly enveloped by the sovereign power's net. It charged left and right, but strangely, it could not break out of the net formed by the sovereign power. Lu Ming began to shrink the sovereign power and the net became smaller. In the end, the metal ball became obedient and stayed there motionless. Finally, Lu Ming grabbed the metal ball in his hand. So heavy. When Lu Ming grabbed the metal ball, he almost lost his grip and dropped it to the ground. This was extremely shocking. Although all the matter in the primitive universe could not be compared to the Heaven Realm's primordial realm and its mass was many times greater than the Heaven Realm's primordial realm, Lu Ming almost lost his grip on such a metal ball. Its weight was probably more than several mountains. Just as Lu Ming was about to examine it carefully, a sharp thorn suddenly appeared on the metal ball. This thorn was extremely sharp. In an instant, it pierced through the sovereign power covering Lu Ming's hand and pierced through Lu Ming's skin. A stream of blood flowed onto the metal ball. Lu Ming was shocked and almost threw the metal ball away. Fortunately, the metal ball did not continue to move. The stream of blood seeped into the metal ball and disappeared. Streaks of dark red light flashed across the surface of the metal ball before disappearing in a flash. At this moment, Lu Ming felt that the metal ball had become lighter, as if it was weightless. Lu Ming was a little stunned. Lu Ming, it seems that you and it are fated to be together. It has recognized you as its master. Xian Yanjuan walked over and said. There was a trace of envy in his eyes. There were not many things that could make Xian Yanjuan envious. It has recognized me as its master. Lu Ming was also a little stunned. If I'm not wrong, this should be a kind of metal life form bred by the heaven and earth's origin. This kind of metal life form is very rare in the vast primitive universe. It is very precious. Now that it has recognized you as its master, it must be fated to be with you. If you nurture it well in the future, it may become a great help to you, Xian Yanjuan said. On the side, Xian Yanqing showed a look of joy. Tong Xia showed a trace of envy. However, this time, she almost did not help. It was completely Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing who caught the metal ball. She could not say anything. Let's go, let's get out of here, Lu Ming said. They did not have much time and could not waste any more time. If the giant eagle returned, they would be in trouble. Immediately, they rushed out of the cave and chose a direction opposite to where the people from Yuan Luo Hall had escaped. Soon, they disappeared from the place. Not long after Lu Ming and the others left, an ear-piercing screech was heard. The wind whistled and the giant metal eagle returned. It landed at the entrance of the cave and seemed to sense something. Then, it let out an angry screech. Caw, caw, caw. The giant metal eagle seemed to have gone mad. It flapped its wings and slashed everything like a blade. Everything that was slashed by its blade-like wings, regardless of whether it was the metal plants or the metal ground, exploded and turned into pieces that flew in all directions. Swoosh. Then, it soared into the sky and swooped down, wreaking havoc on the ground. A level 7 empty god realm giant metal eagle was terrifying. Its destructive power was shocking. It went berserk and destroyed everything nearby before gradually flying off into the distance and disappearing from sight. After the giant metal eagle left, a figure flashed and appeared at the entrance of the cave. It was the bald man from Yuan Luo Hall. He rushed into the cave, but not long after, he rushed out of the cave. Ah, damn it, damn it. Who is it? The bald man roared with a ferocious face. Chapter 2592. The bald man from Yuan Luo Hall was infuriated. He understood that they had been cheated miserably. Previously, they had more than 20 people. However, they had been chased by the giant metal eagles and almost all of them had died. He was the only one who had survived. Moreover, when he had rushed into the cave, the treasure had disappeared. It was obvious that someone had taken the opportunity to take away the treasures in the cave while the giant eagle was chasing after them. If I find out who it is, I will turn you into ashes and die without a burial place. The bald man roared furiously and left the place in a flash. They ran until they had left the forest and crossed a plain. They only heaved a sigh of relief when they entered the next forest. This guy, Lu Ming, realized that the metal ball was lying on his shoulder like a puddle of liquid metal. Lu Ming did not pay much attention to it. He teamed up with Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and Tong Xia and started hunting wild beasts for their beast cause. Bam! Bam! 2 giant metal bears appeared in front of them. Their auras were terrifying and they were both level 3 empty god realm existences. This forest was more dangerous than the previous one. They had just entered and they had already encountered 2 level 3 empty god realm existences. Let me do it. Lu Ming dashed over, constantly activating the battle formula at the same time. After a few times, the fight character manual activated the double combat strength. Lu Ming and the 2 giant metal bears engaged in a fierce battle. Only in a big battle could one be honed. Level 3 empty god realm existences were just right for Lu Ming. Roar. Roar. The giant metal bears were about 10 meters tall and they had immense strength. When they slapped their paws, there was a whistling sound and a raging wind blew. Lu Ming used his sacred weapon combat sword to block the attack. He slashed out a few times and fought with the giant metal bears. In an instant, the two sides were locked in a fierce battle. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan did not take any action and they watched from the side. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming and the two metal bears clashed continuously, and in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The two giant bears were furious, roaring like thunder. The power of the bear paws grew stronger and stronger, causing Lu Ming to feel great pressure. There were a few times when he was almost hit by the bear paws. Yes, that's the feeling. Lu Ming was not surprised. Instead, his eyes revealed a strong fighting spirit. The pressure and the sense of danger were the only things that could help him improve faster. Whether it was the Tao of the Sovereign Lord or the battle character incantation, they were both very useful. Kill. Suddenly, Lu Ming let out a long howl and rushed towards a giant bear. The giant bear roared and also sent out a palm strike. Lu Ming's body tilted slightly to the side, avoiding his vitals and allowing the palm to land on him. At the same time, his battle sword slashed towards the giant bear. Bang! Lu Ming's body shook violently as if he had been struck by lightning. However, at the same time, his sword also landed on the enormous bear's chest, leaving behind a deep sword wound on the enormous bear's chest. Roar! The giant bear was enraged, and its killing intent grew stronger. It wanted to charge towards Lu Ming, but at this moment, something strange happened. The metal ball that had been lying softly on Lu Ming's shoulder suddenly turned into a rainbow light and rushed over. The metal ball's body turned into a sharp spike and pierced towards the giant bear's chest. Pu. The giant bear's chest was pierced through, and a hole appeared. The metal ball flew out of the giant bear's back and turned back into a circle. In the middle of the circle, a mouth full of fangs and eyes appeared. On both sides, liquid metal extended out like two tentacles. On the tentacles was a piece of dazzling metal. This was the beast core of the giant metal bear. Bang! As for the giant bear, it fell straight to the ground, no longer breathing. What made Lu Ming and the others even more flabbergasted was that the metal ball actually swallowed the beast core in one gulp and began to chew it. The remaining giant metal bear roared and actually revealed a terrified expression. It turned and ran. Swish! The metal ball once again turned into a rainbow light and charged towards the giant metal bear. The metal bear's defense was useless against the metal ball. It was directly pierced through by the metal ball, and a hole appeared in its chest. The beast core naturally fell into the metal ball's hands. Crunch! The metal ball stuffed the beast core into its mouth and began to chew it. Its eyes revealed a very human-like expression of enjoyment. This works too. Lu Ming was in a daze. Judging from the aura of the metal ball, it should be at level 1 empty god realm. However, the two giant metal bears at level 3 empty god realm were powerless against it. It was as if the metal ball could restrain these metal lifeforms. Then, Lu Ming's heart ached. The two level 3 empty god realm beast cores had been eaten by the metal ball. This was worth 40 divine gems. You can restrain these metal lifeforms. Lu Ming walked over and picked up the metal ball. Crunch! Crunch! The metal ball chewed a few times with its big mouth and revealed a proud expression. It seemed to be saying that this was a given. Lu Ming was overjoyed. All right, help us hunt the metal beasts in the future. However, you can't eat the beast cores. You have to give them to me, Lu Ming said. Crunch! Crunch! The metal ball chewed a few more times and its entire body was spinning. It was obvious that it was rejecting Su Mo. You don't agree? If you don't agree, I will stuff you into my storage ring and you won't get a single piece, Lu Ming threatened. The metal ball chewed with its big mouth and its eyes revealed a furious expression. Then I will keep you in my storage ring. Lu Ming did not compromise. After a round of bargaining, he finally reached an agreement with the metal ball. Half of the beast cores that the metal ball hunted would be given to Lu Ming and the other half would be left for the metal ball to eat. Each of them would take half. After discussing, they set off. Not long after, they encountered a few more wild beasts. However, after the metal ball took action, these wild beasts were terrified. They were easily killed by the metal ball and their beast cores were taken away. The metal ball passed half of the beast core to Lu Ming. It stuffed the other half into its mouth and started munching on it. Lu Ming and the rest were overjoyed. This way, their efficiency in hunting for beast cores would be greatly increased. Following that, they rampaged through the forest. The speed at which they hunted desolate beasts greatly increased. Lu Ming realized that even if they encountered a level 4 empty Godrealm wild beast, the metal ball could easily kill it. It was just slightly more troublesome. Most of the time, Lu Ming and the rest did not have to do anything. Sometimes, when they met a suitable opponent, Lu Ming would have to stop the metal ball to have a chance to train. In the blink of an eye, they had stayed in the forest for 3 days. In these 3 days, they had gained a lot. They had obtained more than 1,000 beast cores from level 1 to level 4 empty God realm. If they were to convert them into divine gems, they would be worth more than 20,000 divine gems. It had only been a few days and they had gained a lot. Everyone smiled. Chapter 2593. That day, they came to a valley and encountered a nest of metal lizards. There were at least 20 of them and they ranged from level 1 to level 4 empty God realm. Swoosh! The metal ball charged out and killed a level 4 empty God realm metal lizard. Then, it charged towards the other lizards. Leave 2 of them for me. Lu Ming also charged over. His combat sword swept across the sky and blocked 2 level 3 empty God realm lizards. They engaged in a fierce battle. In the past few days, he had fought with the metal desolate beasts from time to time. His understanding of the battle character skill had deepened and the chances of activating the battle character skill to double his combat strength had increased. They did not realize that a figure had appeared on a mountain peak far away from them. That person was the bald man from Yuan Luo Hall. He had been searching for the past few days and had accidentally come to this place. When he heard the battle, he came over to take a look. As soon as he saw it, his eyes were filled with cold killing intent. It's that treasure. His eyes were fixed on the metal ball. Previously, he had rushed into the cave and seen the metal ball. Just as he was about to take the metal ball, the metal eagle had returned and he could only run away in a hurry. Now that he had seen the metal ball, he immediately knew who had tricked him. It was Lu Ming and the rest. Tongxi, it's them. I sent out a few men but they did not kill them. Damn it, I want all of you to die. The bald man's eyes revealed a cold expression, as well as a deep sense of greed. The metal ball could easily kill the metal desolate beasts and obtain their beast cores. If he could obtain it, he would be rich. He moved his body and dashed toward Lu Ming and the rest silently along the ground. He was very cautious. Although Lu Ming and the rest did not seem to have a high cultivation level, there was a level 4 empty God realm martial artist among the men that he had sent out. However, he had not returned. Therefore, he planned to use a sneak attack to kill them first. He was extremely fast and soon, he was close to Lu Ming and the rest. Who is it? Xian Yanjuan's eyes suddenly turned in a certain direction. Holy light spread out, forming a battle sword, and slashed out. Whoosh! Wherever the sword light passed, the metal trees were split in half. Boom! On the other side, divine force erupted, powerful energy rampaging. A figure rushed into the sky, revealing itself before everyone's eyes. His spiritual perception is so sharp. Furthermore, his divine power is so strong. The bald man from the Yuan Luo Hall was shocked. He had already restrained his aura, but he was still discovered by Xian Yanjuan. At the same time, the power of Xian Yanjuan's sword had shocked him. A level 1 empty God realm martial artist's divine power was not weaker than a level 4 empty God realm martial artist. A monster. The righteous army actually has a monster like this. We must get rid of him. The bald man roared in his heart. It's him. At this moment, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the others all recognized the bald man. They had seen him from afar before. Whoosh! Lu Ming moved and dodged the attacks of the 2 lizards. Then, the metal ball rushed over and killed the 2 lizards. He took out their beast claws and placed them on Lu Ming's shoulder. Tongshi, you guys are still alive. It seems like the person I sent is already dead, the bald man said ferociously. That's right. We killed him, Tongshi said. However, her expression was grave. This bald man gave her a lot of pressure. He was definitely a terrifying expert. Then, you guys were the ones who alerted the giant metal eagle and lured it back to the cave. The bald man sneered, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. Looks like you're not stupid, Lu Ming said coldly. Kid, give me that metal ball. The bald man looked at the metal ball on Lu Ming's shoulder, the greed in his eyes growing. You want it? Come and take it yourself, Lu Ming said. You're digging your own grave. The bald man moved and dashed towards Lu Ming like a bolt of lightning. Swoosh, swoosh. As soon as the bald man moved, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan moved as well. One black and one white sword radiance covered the bald man. Get lost. A saber appeared in the bald man's hand. Saber radiance flashed and he slashed towards Xian Yanqing and Tongshi, trying to shake off their sword radiance. Level 5 Empty God Realm. As soon as the bald burly man made a move, Lu Ming could tell his cultivation level. Level 5 Empty God Realm was definitely powerful. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan did not dare to go head-on with the bald man. They changed their swords and transformed into more than 10 sword radiances. They avoided the bald man's saber and stabbed towards his vital parts. Get lost. Get lost. The bald man roared and slashed out with his saber. However, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's combat skills were too powerful. They could avoid him completely, but they could still attack his vital parts. The two of them joined forces and their sword radiances flashed continuously. The bald man could not get past them for a while. Bam! At that moment, a cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He took a step forward and dashed towards the bald man. He slashed his sword at the bald man's head. Get lost. The bald man roared and his divine power surged out like a flood. When Lu Ming's saber hit the divine power, it was as though it had hit a mountain. Boom! Lu Ming felt a terrifying force surging towards him and he could not help but retreat. Level 5 Empty God Realm. What a powerful force. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb and the blood in his body surged. Crack! At that moment, the metal ball threw a beast claw into its mouth. As it chewed, it dashed towards the bald man. As it dashed out, the metal ball changed rapidly. It turned into a big ball with a diameter of a few meters and smashed towards the bald man. Dong! The bald man's saber hit the metal ball and there was a loud bang. The metal ball was sent flying. However, the bald man's saber force was also slowed down. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's sword radiances surged. They were like two streaks of rainbow light that shot towards the bald man. Get lost! The bald man roared, and his saber slashed out horizontally as if it was capable of sweeping away 1,000 armies. A crescent-shaped saber radiance shot out in all directions. This was a large-scale attack. Although it consumed a lot of divine power, it was very useful in this situation. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan could not help but retreat. Although they could kill a level 4 Empty God Realm martial artist with their powerful combat skills, they were no match for a level 5 Empty God Realm martial artist. Die, you brat! After forcing Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan to retreat, the bald man charged towards Lu Ming ferociously. Go! Lu Ming waved his hand and the metal ball dashed out towards the bald man. However, the metal ball was sent flying by the bald man's saber. Chapter 2594. The metal ball was extremely heavy and its explosive power was comparable to that of a level 4 Empty God Realm martial artist. However, it could not block the bald man's attack. Tongshi was extremely anxious at the side. However, with her strength, the difference between her and the bald man was too great. She would only die if she went up. Die, you brat! The bald man roared. When he saw the metal ball following Lu Ming, he wanted to kill Lu Ming. He wanted to get rid of Lu Ming first. Lu Ming squinted his eyes and retreated quickly. At the same time, he unleashed his sovereign power to its maximum. Swoosh! The bald man's saber radiance was dazzling as it slashed towards Lu Ming. As Lu Ming retreated, he slashed out with his sword and it clashed with the bald man's saber. Dang! As the saber and sword clashed, sparks flew. Lu Ming felt a terrifying power surging towards him. His body shook violently and he flew out like a cannonball. He crashed into the wall of the valley and even the metal wall cracked and caved in. Poof! Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He felt as if his arm was going to break. The sacred weapon in his hand had a chip on it. Lower rank 5 sacred weapon. Lu Ming's heart stirred. The bald man's saber was a lower rank 5 sacred weapon. His combat sword was only a lower rank 3 sacred weapon. It was normal for it to have a chip on it. In the primitive universe, divine weapons were divided into low-grade divine weapons, middle-grade divine weapons, high-grade divine weapons, and supreme-grade divine weapons. There were 4 grades. Every grade was further divided into 9 ranks. The combat sword in Lu Ming's hand was given to him by Ya. It was a lower rank 3 sacred weapon and it was the highest grade sacred weapon that Lu Ming had. Boom! At that moment, the metal ball charged towards the bald man. It had become bigger and its diameter was 10 meters. It was like a small hill as it smashed towards the bald man. Xian Yanjuan, Dark Sacred Light Skill. Xian Yanqing sent a message to Xian Yanjuan. All right. Xian Yanjuan nodded. Boom. Boom. Their bodies emitted resplendent light. One was black and the other was white. It was like a black sun and a white sun. Then, the black light and the white light intertwined to form a cage that enveloped the bald man. Boom. The bald man struck the cage with all his might, but it didn't break. This was the Dark Holy Light Cage. Only Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan could use this secret technique together. Back when the Heaven Realm and the Evil God Realm were fighting, the two of them had worked together to trap Saint Ancestor Shoshin for a while. At that time, their cultivation was only at the half-martial realm, but they were able to trap the empty God Realm Sacred Ancestor Shoshin. Now that both of them had broken through to the empty God Realm, their cultivation techniques had undergone a transformation, allowing them to control divine force. When they executed this move, it was much stronger than before. Boom, boom, boom. The bald man went berserk. Dazzling saber radiance flashed as he launched a frenzied attack. However, all of his attacks were blocked by the Dark Holy Light Cage. Lu Ming, attack. Xian Yanqing shouted. Kill. Lu Ming shouted. He exerted all his strength and slashed out with his combat sword. Streaks of sword chi flew towards the bald man as though they were free. At the same time, Tong Shi-er attacked with all her might. At the same time, she took the opportunity to hit the bald man with the metal ball. The Dark Holy Light Cage didn't stop Lu Ming and the rest at all. Their attacks landed on the bald man as much as they wanted. At that moment, the bald man was like a live target for Lu Ming and the rest to attack. The bald man waved his saber with all his might to block the attacks from Lu Ming and the rest. However, the Dark Holy Light Cage that Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had executed could not only trap him but also attack him. Black and white lotuses appeared in the Dark Holy Light Cage and turned into streaks of sword chi. They danced in the air and attacked the bald man. In an instant, the bald man was flustered and could only defend himself with all his might. However, he could only defend himself and couldn't attack. He was reduced to a live target and there were times when he let his guard down. Poof! A streak of black sword radiance slashed across his body and a deep sword wound appeared. Blood flowed out from the wound. He roared and retreated quickly. He crashed into the Dark Holy Light Cage. A streak of white sword radiance flashed and his chest was almost pierced through. Roar! The bald man let out a beast-like roar. He was a level 5 Empty God Realm martial artist, but he was injured by a few level 1 Empty God Realm juniors. He was furious. Unfortunately, no matter how angry he was, it was useless. After a while, he was no match for Lu Ming. He staggered after being hit by the metal ball. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and almost chopped off his head with his sword, leaving a sword wound that was a few feet long on his chest. With injuries on top of injuries, the bald man's strength started to weaken. Today, you are the one who will die. Lu Ming said coldly, and his attacks became more violent. "Don't even think about it. Don't even think about killing me," the bald man roared. The aura on his body suddenly surged, and it was as though there was a flame burning fiercely. He was burning his divine power. The bald man was going to fight with all his might. Most people would not burn their divine power unless it was a critical moment. If they burned their divine power too much, their cultivation rank might regress, and it might even leave a terrible sequela. It would be difficult for them to raise their cultivation rank in the future. Usually, they would not fight with all their might unless they were in a dangerous situation. However, the bald man had to fight with all his might. If he didn't fight with all his might, he might die here. Boom. Boom. The burning of his divine power increased the bald man's strength by a lot. He broke through everyone's attacks and then slashed heavily on the Dark Saint Light cage. Boom. The Dark Saint Light cage shook violently. Boom. Boom. Then, the bald man attacked the Dark Saint Light cage crazily, causing the Dark Saint Light cage to shake more and more violently. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan's delicate bodies also trembled and their faces turned pale. The bald-headed man continuously attacked with 50 to 60 moves. Moreover, he was specifically attacking a single spot. Crack. That area finally could not withstand the attacks, and a crack appeared. Then, the crack collapsed and a gap appeared. Swoosh. The bald man seized the opportunity and rushed out of the gap. He then turned into a beam of light and sped into the distance. "I will take revenge for this sooner or later." He actually did not dare to stay any longer. He needed to find a place to stop burning his divine power and heal his injuries. Otherwise, not only would his cultivation regress, it would also leave behind a terrifying after-effect. If there were terrible sequelae and he could not raise his cultivation rank in the future, it would be a great loss. Compared to killing Lu Ming and the rest, his future was more important. He would have another chance to kill Lu Ming and the rest in the future. In the blink of an eye, the bald man was nowhere to be seen. What a pity. Lu Ming sighed inwardly. However, he knew that their cultivation ranks were too low. It was shocking that they could force a rank 5 empty god realm to such a state. Chapter 2595. The bald man retreated with serious injuries. As for Lu Ming and the rest, they did not stay and immediately left the area. Following that, they became more cautious. They purposely went to remote areas to avoid meeting other warriors. The next 10 days were very peaceful. Nothing major happened and they hunted for desolate beasts in peace. With the help of the metal ball, their speed of killing desolate beasts increased greatly. However, they discovered a situation. The metal ball could deal with desolate beasts at level 4 Void God Realm, but it was very difficult to deal with those above level 5 Void God Realm. It could frighten the other party, but if the other party turned and ran, the metal ball could not catch up. Hence, the desolate beasts they hunted were all below level 4 Void God Realm. During this period, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and Tong Shi used all their strength to kill desolate beasts and obtain their beast cores. After all, if they relied on the metal ball alone, they would have to split half of the beast cores they hunted. If they worked together, their efficiency would naturally be much higher. In 10 days, including the beast cores they hunted previously, they could probably sell them for about 100,000 divine gems. This was definitely a great harvest. On this day, after the metal ball swallowed a beast core, its body suddenly emitted a resplendent light. A powerful aura emanated from it. Could it be about to advance in rank? Lu Ming was a little stunned. Could it be that the metal ball could advance in rank by continuously swallowing beast cores? Thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The metal ball was like a balloon. It would swell and shrink at times. This repeated for a few hours before it stabilized. The metal ball's aura had also increased. Level 2 Void God Realm. Lu Ming understood that the metal ball had really advanced in rank. It had reached level 2 Void God Realm. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The metal ball would undoubtedly be stronger after advancing in rank. In the future, its speed of killing desolate beasts would definitely be faster. Just as they were continuing to hunt desolate beasts, a figure rushed out from a hidden cave. It was the bald man from Yuan Luo Hall. After more than 10 days, his injuries had finally healed. The after-effects of burning divine power had also been stabilized. Tong Xie, and that brat, don't think you'll have an easy time. If I can't have it, you can't either, the bald man said ferociously. Then, his figure flashed and he left the place. Tens of thousands of miles away, there was another group of people hunting desolate beasts. There were about a dozen of them. This group of people came from another faction, Storm Hall. The Wind Cloud Hall was not any weaker than the Yuan Luo Palace and the Righteous Army. Who? Suddenly, an old man, who was the leader of the Fengyun Hall, looked in a certain direction with sharp eyes. Brother Feng's spiritual sense is indeed sharp. I'm impressed. With a chuckle, a figure appeared. It was the bald man from the Yuan Luo Hall. Kang Bing, it's you? What's wrong? You want to take advantage of my storm hall? The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall scanned the surroundings with his sharp eyes. The other members of the Wind Cloud Hall also looked around warily. The chaotic astral ocean was originally a chaotic place. There were countless big and small forces. It was common for these forces to kill each other. And in the 10,000 Gold Star, killing each other for beast cause was a common occurrence. Naturally, they had to be on high alert. Brother Feng, you must be joking. I'm here to tell you about a great opportunity. The bald man smiled. A great opportunity. The old man's lips curled up. Clearly, he did not believe him. He said, Kang Bing, would you be so kind as to tell me about an opportunity? You would have already taken it for yourself. This opportunity is not in my hands. It was taken away by someone else. It was a few brats from the Righteous Army. They obtained a metal ball that has spirituality. It can suppress the other metal desolate beasts on the 10,000 Gold Star and take their beast cause. Their efficiency is astonishing, the bald man said. What? There's such a treasure. Kang Bing, you're not tricking me, right? The old man still did not believe him. It's up to you to believe it or not. I've already brought the news. There are only 4 people in the Righteous Army, 3 women and 1 man. They are all young. Why don't you try to see if it's true? The bald man smiled. Then, his figure flashed and he left the place. Brother Feng, what should we do? Is this Kang Bing telling the truth? Someone asked the old man. There's actually such a powerful metal lifeform that can suppress other metal desolate beasts. It's better to believe it than not. If it's true, we'll be rich. Immediately find those brats from the Righteous Army, the old man ordered. Then, the bald man traversed the land to find people from other forces and spread the news. Most of the people were like the old man from the Storm Hall. They would rather look around. More and more people joined in the search for Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others knew nothing about this and continued to hunt for beast cause. With the advancement of the metal ball, the speed of their hunt for beast cause had increased. They could even hunt a level 5 empty God Realm wild beast now. There's someone. On this day, as they were moving forward, Xian Yanjuan's eyes suddenly flickered. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also sensed it. Swoosh, swoosh. 6 figures flashed in front of him, and 6 figures appeared. These 6 people were from the Noga tribe and the Oxhead tribe. The leader was a Noga elder. He glanced at Lu Ming and the others with a gloomy expression. Finally, his gaze landed on the metal ball on Lu Ming's shoulder. It's exactly as Kang Bing said. There really is a metal life form like this. The Noga elder's eyes were filled with greed. They came from a small force. There were only 6 of them on the 10,000 Gold Star. When they heard Kang Bing's news, they immediately searched everywhere. Unexpectedly, they found Lu Ming and the others first. Brat, give us the metal ball on your shoulder and we'll spare your life. The Noga elder spoke. His voice was sharp and hoarse. His snake tail swung around threateningly. They're here for the metal ball? Lu Ming's heart jumped. He immediately thought of the bald man from the Yuan Luo Palace. It must have been the bald man who leaked the information, or he simply wanted to borrow the hands of others to eliminate them. Scram! Lu Ming shouted coldly. Among the 6 people, the Noga elder had the highest cultivation. He was at level 4 empty god realm. The others were all below level 4 empty god realm. They were not afraid at all. What did you say? A transformation void martial realm dares to speak to me like that. If you had handed over the metal ball, I could have considered sparing your life. Now, even if you kneel down and beg me, you'll still have to die. The Naga Elder's voice was extremely cold and was filled with cold killing intent. I'll kill him. A level 3 empty god realm oxhead held a battle axe. He arched his body and took a step forward. His body shot out like an arrow towards Lu Ming. Go, smash him to death. Lu Ming waved his hand and the metal ball flew out. At the same time, it swelled rapidly and smashed towards the ox head. Chapter 2596. The metal ball grew bigger and smashed down on the bull-headed man. The bull-headed man roared and waved his giant axe to hit the metal ball. Clang! There was an earth-shattering sound as the bull-headed man's battle axe bounced back and smashed onto his head. At the same time, the metal ball smashed onto the bull-headed man's head. The bull-headed man screamed in pain as his body exploded and he died on the spot. When the metal ball was at level 1 empty god realm, its strength was equivalent to level 4 empty god realm. Now that it had leveled up, it could fight against a level 5 empty god realm expert. Naturally, it could kill a level 3 empty god realm expert instantly. What? The Naga Elder turned pale with fright. A level 3 empty god realm expert was killed in seconds. Even he couldn't do it. Let's go. The Naga Elder roared and turned to run. The remaining few people were already scared out of their wits. Before the Naga Elder could say anything, they had already run away. Smash! Lu Ming waved his hand and the metal ball flew out and smashed towards the Naga Elder. Boom! The metal ball was like a mountain as it smashed towards the Naga Elder. The Naga Elder tried his best to block the attack. However, his attacks were all destroyed by the metal ball. Bam! The Naga Elder's palms landed on the metal ball. His body shook violently as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Both of his arms were broken from the impact. Then, the metal ball continued to fly and smashed onto the Naga Elder. The Naga Elder could not block the attack of the metal ball. He tried his best to block a few attacks but was still killed by the metal ball. As for the remaining people, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had already rushed out. With a flash of sword radiance, they were all killed. The Naga Elder and the other 5 people had all died here. However, Lu Ming and the rest had grave expressions on their faces. If the bald man from Yuan Luo Hall could inform the Naga Elder and the others, he could inform the others. It would be bad if they met a more powerful expert. Let's go. They took the storage rings of the Naga Elder and the others and left in a flash. However, not long after, they were besieged again. This time, they encountered people from the Storm Hall. There were more than 20 people in Fengyun Hall and 2 of them were at level 5 empty god realm. There were a few level 4 empty god realm martial artists and they were no match for them. With the help of the metal ball, they blocked a few of the opponent's attacks and retreated. Don't even think about leaving. Hand over that metal ball. The leader of the Fengyun Hall was an elder from the human tribe. His eyes were cold and his cultivation was at the peak of level 5 empty god realm. He was very powerful and he chased after Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming and the others didn't even glance at him as they ran with all their might. Die! The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall struck out with his palm. A palm force that could topple mountains and overturn seas blasted towards Lu Ming and the others. Wherever it passed, trees made of metal would explode and disintegrate. Go! Lu Ming directly pushed the metal ball out. Dong! With a loud boom, the metal ball shook violently and was sent flying back. However, the speed of Lu Ming's group was not affected in the slightest. They continued to run at top speed. You can't escape. The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall looked ferocious and his eyes sparkled with greed. That metal ball was magical and its strength was shocking. If he could get it, he would be like a tiger that had grown wings. Roar! Suddenly, there was a loud roar in front of them. The roar was shocking. Even though they were far away, they could feel a strong oppression. That is a level 6 empty god realm metal desolate beast. Xianyanjuan said. Let's go. Lu Ming said. They didn't slow down and rushed forward. You are courting death. You are courting death. The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall shouted angrily. Even if we are courting death, we won't let you off easily. If you have the ability, come after us. Lu Ming turned back and shouted in disdain. Damn it. The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall shouted. He gritted his teeth and continued to chase. Roar. In front of them, there was a thunderous roar. They saw a huge metal tiger that was more than 10 meters tall, and it was cruising around. As soon as Lu Ming and the rest got close, they were discovered by the huge metal tiger. Its cold eyes swept towards Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest felt a strong pressure. A level 6 empty god realm metal desolate beast was terrifying. Even if Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan joined forces with the metal ball, they would be defeated in an instant. Roar. The huge metal tiger roared. It stomped on the ground and the ground shook. Then, it ran towards Lu Ming and the rest. We can only take a gamble. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with determination. He didn't stop and continued to rush forward. At that moment, the metal ball revealed a big mouth and a pair of eyes. It stared at the huge metal tiger and opened its mouth vigorously, making cracking sounds. When the huge metal tiger saw the metal ball, fear flashed in its eyes. It twisted its waist and went around Lu Ming and the rest, charging towards the men from the Wind Cloud Hall. Damn it, run! The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall shouted and turned to run. Although he was a peak level 5 empty God Realm Metal Tiger, he would still die if he went up against the level 6 empty God Realm Metal Tiger. The metal beasts on WN Jinxing were stronger when they were at the same level. As they were made of metal, they had amazing defensive strength and tenacious vitality. When they fought, they weren't afraid of death. Roar. The huge metal tiger roared. It leaped and covered 100 miles. Soon, it caught up with the men from the Wind Cloud Hall. Its huge claws swept out and 2 experts from the Wind Cloud Hall were killed. Then, it opened its mouth and bit down. An expert from the Wind Cloud Hall was bitten into 2. It was simply a torture. Ah, damn it. The old man from the Wind Cloud Hall ran the fastest. He was at the front, but he was roaring in his heart. He couldn't understand why the huge metal tiger didn't attack Lu Ming and the rest. Instead, it attacked them. He was furious, but now, he could only run. Phew, Lu Ming and the rest heaved a sigh of relief. Especially Tong Shi-er. She felt a layer of cold sweat covering her body. However, they had made the right bet. The huge metal tiger didn't attack them. It seemed that the metal ball had a deterrent effect on level 6 empty God Realm metal beasts. Let's go. They didn't stay and left in a flash. After running for a distance, they stopped. It seems that we can't stay in WN Jinxing. I'm afraid that Yuan Luo Hall has spread the news, Tong Xia said. That's right. Let's leave immediately and return to Zhengtian's star, Lu Ming said. After hunting for this period of time, they had a good harvest. If they sold it for divine gems, they could use it for a period of time. Originally, if there wasn't any danger, they wanted to continue hunting beasts in WN Jinxing. However, it was too dangerous to stay in WN Jinxing. If they encountered a level 6 or even level 7 empty God Realm expert, they would be in danger. Chapter 2597. The few of them discussed for a while and decided to return. Tong Shi-er then took out the interstellar battleship and activated it. The few of them then entered the interstellar battleship. Swoosh! The interstellar battleship shone and shot up into the sky. However, just as the interstellar battleship reached the atmosphere, a terrifying saber radiance slashed down from above and landed heavily on the interstellar battleship. Boom! The interstellar battleship roared and shook violently. Not good. Lu Ming and the rest had a change of expression. Through the interstellar battleship, they could see a burly man in the sky. He had a single horn on his forehead. He was an expert from the Rhinoceros Man. His body exuded a terrifying aura. His eyes were cold as he slashed out with his saber. Swoosh! The snow-white saber radiance lit up the sky and struck the interstellar battleship. The interstellar battleship shook violently and roared continuously. Fortunately, the interstellar battleship's defense was strong enough. Otherwise, it would not be able to travel in the starry sky. The other party would not be able to break through the defense in a short period of time. However, even if the other party could not break through the defense, he could still stop them. When the other experts arrived, they would be like a turtle in a jar. Turn around, Lu Ming said. Tong Shi controlled the interstellar battleship to turn around and fly back to the ground. In the sky, the rhinoceros man chased after them relentlessly. This man's cultivation was shockingly high. He was definitely above level 6 empty god realm. He might even be a level 7 empty god realm expert. Obviously, this man had been patrolling in the sky because he knew that Lu Ming and the others would escape in the interstellar battleship. If there were experts in this area, there might be experts patrolling in other areas as well. They stayed close to the ground and did not leave the interstellar battleship. Instead, they steered the interstellar battleship to fly. The interstellar battleship's speed was shocking. It was much faster than the rhinoceros man. Soon, they shook him off. After shaking off the rhinoceros man, they left the interstellar battleship and flew on their own. The interstellar battleship flying above the 10,000 gold star would cause a huge commotion and attract too much attention. If they continued to fly there, they would undoubtedly be courting death. Not only would they attract other experts, but they would also attract the powerful metal desolate beasts. However, their luck seemed to have run out. They did not fly for long before they met a group of people. As soon as this group of people saw Lu Ming and the rest, their eyes lit up. It's them. Kill them and take their treasures. This group of people dashed towards Lu Ming and the group. The one in front was a level 5 empty god. There were also a few who were at level 4 void god realm. Go, smash him to death. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. With a wave of his hand, the metal ball flew out and smashed towards the level 5 empty god. With the metal ball's current ability, it would not be a problem to block a level 5 empty god realm expert. As for Lu Ming and the others, they rushed towards the remaining people. Being chased all the way, Lu Ming and the others also had a bellyful of anger. Now was the perfect time to go on a killing spree. Boom! The metal ball collided with the level 5 empty god realm expert. Xian Yanjuan swung his long sword and split it into rays of sword light, enveloping the two level 4 empty god realm experts. On the other hand, Xian Yanqing charged towards the last level 4 void god. Lu Ming activated double combat strength and fought the rest together with Tong Shi. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, as long as he did not encounter a level 4 empty god realm expert, he could protect himself. Although the other party had more people, Lu Ming defended with all his might. The other party could not do anything to Lu Ming. As for Xian Yanqing, he could completely suppress a level 4 empty god realm expert. Swoosh, swoosh. Xian Yanqing had devoured the memories of his previous life. His combat experience and combat awareness were not much weaker than Xian Yanjuan's. His sword radiance flashed and forced the other party to retreat. Poof! After dozens of moves, the other party was almost cut into two by Xian Yanqing's sword radiance. He was frightened and retreated frantically. Swoosh! Swoosh! At that moment, Xian Yanqing's sword aura suddenly changed. He was like a flying immortal as he charged towards the people who were fighting with Lu Ming. Poof! Poof! As the sword radiance flashed, a few heads flew out. One level 3 empty god realm expert and two level 2 empty god realm experts were killed instantly. Such swordsmanship, such combat skills. Lu Ming was secretly astonished when he saw this. Xian Yanqing's and Xian Yanjuan's swordsmanship came from the same source. They were very similar and they were amazing. Lu Ming did not think that he could achieve it. Especially after Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had broken through to the martial god realm, they had reached a shocking level. This was not a divine skill but a simple use of the sword. It was a skill and experience. With their current strength, it was difficult for them to use a divine skill. Normally, one would have to reach the peak empty god realm to cultivate a divine skill. Swoosh! After killing the three experts, Xian Yanqing's sword aura changed again and another two people were killed. Oh no! The remaining people were shocked. They had so many people, but they were still no match for Lu Ming and the other 3 young men. This shocked them. Swoosh, swoosh. Just then, there was a loud piercing sound from afar. More than 10 streamers shot towards them. Another group of experts had arrived. Those people were overjoyed. It's them. They have the treasure. Let's join forces and kill them. Those people yelled. It's them. Kill. When those people saw Lu Ming and the others, they charged towards them. Let's go. Lu Ming shouted and kept the metal ball. He turned around and left with Tong Shi-er, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan. Another group of people had arrived and there were level 5 empty gods among them. It would be unwise for them to stay and fight. Where are you going? Behind them, a group of people chased after them. In the blink of an eye, they had traveled a few thousand miles. Something is not right. Why is there not a single metal desolate beast in this area? Suddenly, Lu Ming frowned. They had traveled a few thousand miles. Logically speaking, they should have encountered many metal desolate beasts. However, they had not encountered any metal desolate beasts. This was not normal. Rumble. Suddenly, there was a loud roar from afar and the ground shook violently. Furthermore, the vibration was not coming from a single direction. Instead, it was coming from all directions. What's going on? The expressions of those who were chasing after Lu Ming and the rest changed. Roar, roar, roar. Then, there was the sound of beasts roaring. The ground around them shook more and more violently. Then, they saw countless metal desolate beasts rushing towards them from all directions like a tide. Beast tide, desolate beasts beast tide. Run. Fly to the sky. Those who were chasing Lu Ming and the others were panicking and exclaiming. However, there were desolate beasts in all directions. With so many desolate beasts rushing towards them, they would definitely be wiped out. Many of them soared into the sky and tried to escape. However, in the next moment, they were in despair. Chapter 2598. Ga. Ga. In the sky, there was a sharp cry as flying desolate beasts appeared in the sky. Everyone's faces turned pale. What should we do? Tong Shi-er's face was also pale. Let's risk it. Little guy, we're counting on you. Lu Ming looked at the metal ball. The metal ball could deter those metal desolate beasts. Now, they could only rely on the metal ball. Rumble. Countless metal desolate beasts approached. Their terrifying auras pressed down like a landslide. Some people had already been engulfed by the beast horde. They let out miserable cries, but in a blink of an eye, there was no sound. The metal ball in Lu Ming's hand expanded in size. It opened its mouth and began to bite. Its eyes stared angrily at those metal desolate beasts. When those metal desolate beasts saw the metal ball, they revealed a look of fear. They actually went around Lu Ming and company and did not attack Lu Ming and company. It's effective. Lu Ming and company were overjoyed. This scene was also seen by others. Charge towards them. They are fine. Bring them along and we can leave WN jinxing. The remaining people who were not dead rushed towards Lu Ming and company. Let's go. Lu Ming and company would not stand there foolishly. They used the metal ball to open a path and charged into the beast horde. You are not going to save us. You will die a horrible death. When those people saw Lu Ming and company charging into the beast horde and about to disappear, they began to roar crazily. Lu Ming and company despised them. These people wanted to kill them just now. They were not fools. Why would they save them? To say that they were not going to save them was simply laughable. Behind them, there were screams and rumbling sounds. Soon, there was no sound. Lu Ming and company used the metal ball to open a path. It was very safe. They passed through the beast horde without any mishaps. However, after traveling for some time, they encountered another beast horde. They were running through the forest and roaring like thunder. I heard that in the 10,000 gold star, there will only be a beast tide once every 10,000 years. I didn't expect that we would encounter it this time. There was a look of lingering fear on her face. This time, if they did not have the metal ball, they would also be in danger. Most likely, they would not have survived. They used the metal ball to pass through the beast tide and entered a forest. Roar! Roar! Not long after they entered the forest, they heard the roars of desolate beasts. At the same time, there were sword beams and saber beams that shot up into the sky. Clearly, someone was battling a desolate beast. The next moment, they saw a group of people rushing over, followed by a bunch of desolate beasts. It's him. The expressions of Lu Ming and the others changed. One of them was the bald bulky man from the Yuan Luo Palace. The other person was the old man from the Storm Hall. At this moment, they were all in a sorry state, being chased by a group of desolate beasts. It's them. It's those bastards. The bald bulky man from the Yuan Luo Palace also saw Lu Ming and the others. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. Then, the bald bulky man from the Yuan Luo Palace directly rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. The others followed the bald bulky man and rushed towards Lu Ming and the others. Clearly, they wanted to drag Lu Ming and the others down with them. They are courting death. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Let's bring them to the beast tide. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing and the others. Xian Yanqing and the others' eyes lit up. They understood what Lu Ming and the others wanted to do. They turned and ran towards the beast tide from before. The bald bulky man and the others chased closely behind Lu Ming and the others. They had just passed through the beast tide, so they were not far away. Soon, they saw a large group of desolate beasts. Lu Ming immediately kept the metal ball into his storage ring. Roar! Roar! When the desolate beasts saw Lu Ming and the others, they rushed towards Lu Ming and the others in a frenzy. Not good. Damn it! The bald bulky man and the others turned pale with fright. As for Lu Ming and the others, they turned and rushed towards the bald bulky man and the others, bringing a large group of desolate beasts with them. Damn it, all of you deserve to die. A bunch of lunatics. The bald bulky man and the others roared. They thought that Lu Ming and the others would not be able to escape and would drag them down with them. All of you, get lost, get lost. The bald bulky man roared angrily. Weren't you chasing us just now? Why are you telling us to get lost now? Lu Ming sneered and continued to chase after the bald bulky man and the others. The bald bulky man and the others revealed a look of despair. There was a large group of desolate beasts behind them. There were even more desolate beasts in front of them. In the sky, there was also a dense group of flying desolate beasts. There was simply no way out. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others suddenly stopped. Then, the metal ball in his hand appeared again. With the metal ball out, the desolate beasts automatically avoided Lu Ming and the others and pounced towards the bald bulky man and the others. Enjoy it. Lu Ming sneered. Then, together with Xian Yanqing and the others, they rushed into the group of desolate beasts and were safe and sound. Ah, ah, ah. The bald bulky man, the elder from Storm Hall, let out a furious roar. They were aggrieved, indignant and scared to death. They understood that they had been tricked by Lu Ming. They wanted to rush towards Lu Ming and the others, but countless desolate beasts had already drowned them. A few level 5 Void God Realm desolate beasts rushed towards the bald bulky man. The bald bulky man tried his best to block a few moves before he was torn apart and died on the spot. The elder from Storm Hall could not withstand more than a few moves and was also torn apart by the desolate beasts. Lu Ming and the others left the place. Now that there is a beast horde, be it on the ground or in the sky, there are terrifying desolate beasts. There shouldn't be any experts blocking us in the sky. Let's leave now, Lu Ming said. Everyone nodded. Those experts had probably left WN Jinxing when they saw the beast horde. However, with so many desolate beasts in the sky, they naturally could not take out their space battleships to fly. They had to pass through the desolate beasts before they could leave. They flew towards the sky. Caw. Suddenly, there was a sharp screech. A silver-white large eagle that looked like it was made of silver flew over and stared at Lu Ming and the others. A terrifying aura emanated from the large eagle, causing the hearts of Lu Ming and the others to beat faster. Terrifying. So terrifying. The large eagle gave them an extremely terrifying feeling. It was even more terrifying than the level 7 Void God Realm desolate beasts that they had encountered previously. This was definitely an existence that surpassed level 7 Void God Realm. Such an existence was too shocking. Lu Ming felt that the other party only needed one move to kill him. The large silver eagle's cold eyes stared at them, causing Lu Ming and the others to tense up. Their backs were drenched in cold sweat. Crack, crack. Metal Ball opened its mouth and stared at the large eagle. The large silver eagle's eyes landed on Metal Ball. Unlike other desolate beasts, there was not much fear in the large silver eagle's eyes. Chapter 2599. Seeing the silver condor's cold and fearless gaze, Lu Ming and company could not help but feel their hearts tighten. It can't be. This silver condor was not afraid of the Metal Ball. Then wouldn't they be doomed? Being ignored by the silver condor, the Metal Ball was enraged. It seemed to feel that its dignity had been challenged. Its body swelled as it attacked. Its eyes were wide open as it revealed a mouth full of fangs. It bit down with a loud crunching sound. At the same time, two tentacles extended from its liquid metal-like body. They waved as if they were threatening the silver condor. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, Tong Xie and company did not even dare to breathe loudly. They stood there motionless. Now, they could only rely on the Metal Ball. If the Metal Ball could not scare it away, they would be in danger. Thankfully, the silver condor finally reacted. Its cold eyes swept across Lu Ming and company before it turned around. With a long cry, it flapped its wings and left. Not only that, even the other flying desolate beasts in the surrounding area also left. It's gone. Lu Ming and company let out a long breath. They felt a chill run down their backs. They were already drenched in cold sweat. Crack, crack, crack. The metal ball shrank and turned back into a round metal ball. It jumped around in front of Lu Ming, as if it was showing off its battle results. Let's go. Lu Ming grabbed the metal ball and flew into the sky. This time, they were safe. They flew above the atmosphere and only stopped when they were close to outer space. There were no more desolate beasts here, nor were there any other experts. Tong Xie took out her interstellar battleship. After entering it, the battleship transformed into a beam of light and flew out of the atmosphere into the vast cosmos. After entering the cosmos, they heaved a sigh of relief. Many things had happened on this trip to WN Jinxing, but they had finally left without any mishap. We'll come again when our cultivation levels are higher, Lu Ming muttered. This was a treasure trove that could allow one to hunt for large amounts of desolate metal beast cores. Furthermore, Lu Ming had a treasure like the metal ball, which allowed him to hunt for desolate metal beast cores with astonishing efficiency. However, they definitely wouldn't be able to come in the near future. It wasn't just because of the beast tide. After the beast tide, the experts of the other forces would return to WN Jinxing, and they would probably still come looking for them. In a few years, when my cultivation is higher, I'll come again. After that, they sorted through the storage rings they obtained from their enemies and found some beast cores and divine crystals. After organizing these things together and returning to the righteous army, he would sell the beast cores and divide them equally. Time passed quickly. A month later, they returned to Just Sky Planet. Within the righteous army, it was a place that specialized in buying, selling, and even exchanging treasures. After returning to Just Sky, Tong Xie brought Lu Ming and the others to this place and sold all the metal beast cores. Including their spoils of war, they had a total of 120,000 divine gems. 120,000 divinity crystals, 30,000 each. Lu Ming smiled and began to divide equally. No, I only want 10,000. This time, it's all thanks to you guys. I didn't do much. Tong Xie hurriedly refused, her face slightly red. This time, she indeed didn't do much. Whether it was Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, or Xian Yanjuan, they were all stronger than her. She had contributed the least, so she was a little embarrassed to take 10,000 divinity crystals. We agreed to divide the divine gems equally. Since we agreed to it, we naturally have to do it. Lu Ming pushed 30,000 divinity crystals to Tong Xie. Lu Ming was already very satisfied with obtaining the metal ball this time. If Tong Xie hadn't brought them there, he wouldn't have been able to obtain it. However, Tong Xie still refused and only accepted 20,000 divinity crystals in the end. Lu Ming, I'll return the interstellar warship. You guys go ahead and chat. Tong Xie said goodbye and left. There's still 100,000 divinity crystals left. Lu Ming took out the remaining divinity crystals. Just give me 30,000 divinity crystals. Xian Yanjuan waved his hand, took a storage ring with 30,000 divinity crystals, and flew away. Only Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were left. The two of them didn't split the loot. Xian Yanqing took 30,000 divinity crystals, while Lu Ming kept 40,000. With these divinity crystals, my cultivation should be able to break through quickly. Xian Yanqing smiled. She had devoured the memories of her previous life, which allowed her to cultivate at an astonishing speed. Her comprehension of the Tao of cultivation was especially natural. Therefore, as long as she had the resources, she would be able to break through very quickly. However, Xian Yanjuan had a greater advantage. She had merged with her past life, which was equivalent to her past life coming back to life. She didn't need to comprehend it again, so her breakthrough was faster and there were almost no bottlenecks. The two of them chatted for a while, then returned to their rooms to cultivate. During this trip to WN Jinxing, after a series of battles, Lu Ming had made great progress. His comprehension of the battle character formula and the path of sovereign had taken a big step forward. Lu Ming had a feeling that he would be able to break through soon. Lu Ming placed the metal ball in his room and focused on cultivating in seclusion. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Lu Ming's body, which had been meditating for a year, suddenly emitted a powerful suction force. The divine qi between heaven and earth gathered crazily towards his body and rushed into it. Then, Lu Ming waved his hand, and a pile of divinity crystals appeared. They kept exploding, turning into rich divine qi, which was absorbed by Lu Ming. The power of the world and the power of the master in Lu Ming's body began to soar and rapidly became rich. A few days later, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed and then slowly disappeared. Swoosh! Lu Ming opened his eyes, and 2 rays of light burst out from his eyes, which were dazzling. 4-star Heavenly Emperor. Lu Ming revealed a smile. After training in WN Jinxing for a while and coming back to cultivate for a year, Lu Ming broke through once again. Of course, this was because Lu Ming's cultivation was still low, in the Heavenly Emperor realm. Moreover, the cultivation environment of the chaotic universe was really much better than the Heaven realm. That was why he broke through so quickly. If it was in the Heaven realm, it was absolutely impossible to break through in such a short time. Of course, if he reached the Void God realm in the future, it would not be so easy to break through. Reaching the Void God realm, every breakthrough was very difficult, unless it was a heaven-defying genius with the help of some rare treasures. Reaching the 4-star Heavenly Emperor, Lu Ming's strength had undoubtedly increased by another level. Now, if he triggered double combat power, killing a level 3 Void God realm existence would be a piece of cake. Even if it was a level 4 Void God realm, he could also contend for a while. Lu Ming got up and stretched his back. There were dense explosive sounds coming from his body. Hey, this guy. Lu Ming opened his eyes and saw that the metal ball was lying on the ground softly, with a listless look, almost turning into a pool of liquid. This guy, could it be that he didn't eat and is like this? Lu Ming guessed, and then a metal beast core appeared in his hand. Previously, Lu Ming still had dozens of scattered beast cores in his hands that had not been sold. Chapter 2600. As soon as the metal beast core appeared in Lu Ming's hand, the metal ball immediately bounced up and shook vigorously like a piece of jelly. A large mouth and a pair of eyes appeared on the metal beast core. The eyes shone brightly as they stared at the metal beast core in Lu Ming's hand. Swish! The metal ball directly jumped over, opened its mouth, and swallowed the beast core in one gulp. Then, it began to chew. After a while, the metal beast core was completely eaten by the metal ball. Then, it looked at Lu Ming eagerly. Lu Ming took out a few more, but they were all eaten by the metal ball in a few bites. This can't go on. Where can I find so many metal beast cores for it to eat? Lu Ming furrowed his brows. Metal beast cores are actually a type of forging material. I wonder if this fellow will eat other metal-attributed forging materials. At the thought of this, a piece of forging material appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It shone with different colors. They were all metals of different attributes. Catcher. As soon as Lu Ming took it out, it was swallowed by the metal ball in one gulp. It seemed to be eating with relish. It really ate it. This fellow's teeth are really good. Then, will it eat a combat weapon? Lu Ming thought for a while and took out a Great Emperor weapon. The metal ball stretched out 2 tentacles and grabbed the Great Emperor weapon. Then, it chewed it into pieces. Then, its round body shook as if it was saying that the combat weapon's grade wasn't high enough and it wasn't tasty enough. Lu Ming was speechless. In the next moment, a bow and arrow appeared in Lu Ming's hand. This was the Fallen Star Bow, a damaged Heavenly Dao weapon. When Lu Ming's cultivation was still weak, it had helped Lu Ming a lot. The metal ball grabbed it and swallowed it in a few bites. Only then did the metal ball reveal a hint of satisfaction in its eyes. I'll give you a few more. Lu Ming took out a few more Heavenly Dao weapons, including the Great Desolate Spear. The Great Desolation Spear had been damaged in the battle with the outsider Sacred Ancestor. Furthermore, to the current Lu Ming, Heavenly Dao soldiers were useless. He could shatter them with a wave of his hand. The metal ball did not reject them. It chewed and swallowed the Heavenly Dao soldiers one by one. After swallowing them, the metal body emitted a layer of light. It then looked at Lu Ming eagerly. This guy's appetite is too big. Lu Ming had a headache. Then, he gritted his teeth and took out 2 weapons, a saber and an axe. They were both divine artifacts, but they were only low-grade Tier 1 divine artifacts. They were all Lu Ming's spoils of war from the enemy. In WN Jinxing's battle, Lu Ming and the others had all obtained several divine items. However, the highest was a low-grade 3rd-tier divine item. They hadn't obtained anything higher than a low-grade 4th-tier divine item. Seeing the 2 low-grade 1st-tier divine items, the metal ball's eyes shone. It grabbed them and started chewing. This was a divine weapon. Although it was only a 1st-tier inferior-grade divine weapon, it was extremely sturdy. Even with Lu Ming's current ability, it would take him some effort to destroy it. However, the metal ball could bite off a large piece of it with just one bite. It ate with a delicious sound. The metal ball ate a little slower. After half an hour, the metal ball finally destroyed the 2 divine artifacts. Its entire body glowed, and it had a satisfied expression on its face. This guy won't eat divine items often in the future, right? Thinking of this, Lu Ming's face darkened. Each divine item was expensive. If he continued eating like this, he would definitely go bankrupt. However, thinking that the metal ball would level up if it ate too much, Lu Ming's heart began to burn. As long as there were enough metal materials and weapons for the metal ball to eat, the metal ball would continue to level up. It would be of great help to him in the future. Let's eat some low-grade ones first. I'll think of something. Lu Ming pondered. Then, he took out some of the refining materials he had collected over the years. He had collected too many refining materials over the years. In the past, he had given some to the Dragon League for them to refine, but there was still a lot left. However, their grades were not high. Although he had only taken out a portion of it, it was still piled up like a small mountain. Seeing so many metal materials, the metal ball's eyes lit up. It pounced into the pile of materials and began to eat them in big bites. In the next half a month, Lu Ming stabilized his realm while observing the metal ball's situation. In this half a month, the metal ball had eaten almost all of the refining materials Lu Ming had collected. However, the metal ball showed no signs of leveling up. It seems that the grade of the refining materials is too low. They can't provide enough energy for the metal ball. Lu Ming sighed. Lu Ming guessed that after the metal ball swallowed the materials, it would be able to absorb the spiritual essence of the materials to level up. Only when it had absorbed enough spiritual essence would it be able to evolve and level up. To the metal ball, which was already at level 2 empty God realm, The energy contained in the low-level crafting material was too little. What should I do? Do I have to keep feeding the weapon? How can I afford to feed it? Lu Ming sighed. Wait. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. If he couldn't afford to feed the weapon, then he would feed the weapon fragments. In the chaotic universe, there were countless people killing each other every day. There were also countless people who went to various forbidden lands, dangerous lands, and unknown planets to take risks. Every day, there would be magical weapons that would break. When the weapons broke, there would be magical fragments. The metal ball only needed the spiritual essence of the metals. In that case, eating the magical fragments was the same as eating the weapons. However, the price of the magical fragments was much cheaper than the weapons. The price of the magical fragments was even cheaper than refining materials of the same grade. This was because refining materials could be used to refine weapons directly. However, if he wanted to use the magical fragments again, he would have to extract the materials from the magical fragments first. However, when refining a god artifact, all kinds of different materials were completely intertwined and mixed together. It was very difficult to extract them. The cost of labor was also high. This resulted in the price of the magical fragments not being very high. Let's go and buy the magical fragments. Haha. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was overjoyed. He grabbed the metal ball and walked out. The metal ball was like a lump of liquid metal. At this moment, it moved along Lu Ming's palm and turned into a golden bracelet. It was worn on Lu Ming's wrist. Not bad, this is not bad. Lu Ming was overjoyed. It turned into a bracelet on his wrist to avoid attracting attention. Let me give you a name, Lu Ming said as he looked at the bracelet on his wrist. A pair of eyes appeared on the bracelet and looked at Lu Ming expectantly. You're so round like a ball. I'll call you Cho-Cho. What do you think? Don't you think it sounds nice? Lu Ming said. The blinking eyes of the metal ball seemed to like the name. Dandan, Bubbles, Cho-Cho. Lu Ming thought of Dandan, Bubbles, and the others and smiled inwardly. He was quite satisfied with his ability to come up with names. Outside, Lu Ming soared into the air. Not long after, Lu Ming arrived at the place where the righteous army traded their treasures. Chapter 2601. Half an hour later, Lu Ming walked out of the place where the righteous sky army traded their treasures with a frown. He had bought some fragments of divine artifacts, but not a lot. It was only equivalent to 10 divine artifacts, and they were all low-grade divine artifacts. He had spent 200 divine gems. These fragments aren't enough. Where should I buy them? Lu Ming pondered. Lu Ming. Suddenly, a crisp voice sounded. Lu Ming looked up and saw Tong Shi-er. Lu Ming, are you here to buy treasures? Tong Shi-er flew over with a smile. Yes, but I'm here to buy some fragments of divine artifacts. However, there aren't enough fragments here. Lu Ming said. Buy fragments of divine artifacts. Tong Shi-er's eyes flickered as she thought of the metal ball. The righteous sky army isn't big, and they lack powerful refining materials, so they don't have many fragments. Even if they have fragments, they won't sell them here. Tong Shi-er explained. Oh, Miss Shi-er, where can I buy a large number of fragments? Lu Ming asked. If you want to buy a large number of fragments, you can only go to Cloud Peak City, Tong Shi-er said. Cloud Peak City, you mean Cloud Peak City where the Cloud Peak Pavilion is located? Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he said. The chaotic galaxy was extremely vast, and there were many planets with life. In addition, there were many planets without life. There were countless planets of different sizes. Therefore, there were many forces of different sizes. For example, there were at least 800 if not 1,000 forces like the Righteous Sky Army and the Yuan Luo Palace. However, among the many forces in the chaotic galaxy, the most powerful force was undoubtedly the Cloud Peak Pavilion. This was because the Cloud Peak Pavilion had a heavenly god. There were many forces in the chaotic galaxy, but only the Cloud Peak Pavilion had a heavenly god. It was undoubtedly the most powerful force. Cloud Peak City, where the Cloud Peak Pavilion was located, was the most prosperous place in the chaotic Star River. There were many things that one could buy here. Yes, I'm also going to Cloud Peak City to buy some pills to break through to the next realm. We can go together, Tongxia said. All right. Lu Ming nodded. When he went to Cloud Peak City, he also wanted to sell a good weapon. During this period of time, Lu Ming had been using the divine artifact battle sword that White Fang had given him. However, after using it for a long time, Lu Ming still felt that the spear was more comfortable. Although cultivating the battle character secret art would allow one to use any weapon with ease, Lu Ming had only started cultivating not long ago. He had started using a spear, so he was used to using a spear. Furthermore, White Fang's divine artifact battle sword was only a low-grade third-tier divine artifact. It was still a bit low-grade. Lu Ming wanted to buy a higher-grade spear. Just now, he had asked around in the righteous army, but he hadn't been able to find anyone suitable. Immediately, the two of them stepped onto the righteous army's teleportation array and rushed towards Cloud Peak City. Upright Sky Planet was very far away from Cloud Peak Planet, where Cloud Peak City was located. They had to cross the boundless starry sky. Even if they took a teleportation formation, they couldn't reach it in one go. They had to be teleported several times. Furthermore, with such a long teleportation, even if they took a teleportation formation, it would still take a long time. After 3 days of continuous teleportation, they finally arrived at Cloud Peak City. What a majestic city! Walking around the streets of Cloud Peak City, Lu Ming couldn't help but exclaim. After coming to the primitive universe, Lu Ming finally felt that the primordial realm of the Heaven Realm was too small. The surface area of Dark Underworld Planet was equivalent to 10,000 Heaven Realm, Primordial Realm, and Evil God Realm combined. The surface area of Upright Sky Planet was several times larger than Dark Underworld Planet. However, Cloud Peak Planet, where Cloud Peak City was located, was at least 10 times larger than Upright Sky Planet. Heaven Realm, Primordial Realm, and Evil God Realm were simply dust compared to Cloud Peak Planet. Just the surface area of Cloud Peak City was probably equivalent to the surface area of hundreds of Heaven Realm, Primordial Realm, and Evil God Realm combined. One could imagine how huge it was. Cloud Peak City was extraordinarily lively. All the major and minor forces in the chaotic galaxy could come here. The chaotic galaxy was very chaotic and killings could be seen everywhere. However, Cloud Peak City was an exception. Cloud Peak Pavilion had a rule that Cloud Peak City was a place for business and killing was not allowed. If one wanted to kill, one would have to go to a specific battle stage. Whoever disobeyed the rule would be hunted down by Cloud Peak Pavilion. Hence, Cloud Peak City was very safe. This was the only way to attract countless people to do business, to trade, to buy, or to sell treasures. If it wasn't safe, who would dare to come here if they could kill and steal treasures at any time? Hence, the two of them were more at ease and strolled around casually. 2 days later, the two of them came to the biggest market in Cloud Peak City. There was a sea of people and shops. There were all kinds of shops. Refining materials, various divine elixirs, sacred weapons, and sky treasures were available. There were even divine skills for sale. Lu Ming went in to take a look. The prices were shockingly high. Even the lowest level 1 divine skill was not something that Lu Ming could afford. It started at least tens of thousands of divine gems. At a divine elixir shop, Tongxia bought the divine elixir that she needed. She had accumulated enough. When she returned, she would be able to break through to level 2 Empty God Realm. Then, they came to a sacred weapon shop. "Sir, how can I help you?" Immediately, a beautiful young lady came up to them. "Hello, I am looking for a long spear sacred weapon." Lu Ming smiled. "A long spear sacred weapon? What grade do you need? I can recommend it to you." The young lady smiled. "A lower rank 5 sacred weapon or above," Lu Ming said. "All right, please follow me." The young lady brought Lu Ming to a room. There were all kinds of long spears sacred weapons hanging in the room. This is a lower rank 5 sacred weapon, Hurricane Spear. It costs 3,000 divine gems. This is a lower rank 6 sacred weapon, Roaring Flame Spear. It costs 7,000 divine gems. The young lady introduced the items to Lu Ming. "What an expensive price!" Lu Ming exclaimed. A lower rank 5 sacred weapon cost 3,000 divine gems. A lower rank sacred weapon corresponded to a void god realm. Generally, void god realm people used lower rank sacred weapons. True god realm people used middle rank sacred weapons. So on and so forth, divine king realm people used supreme rank sacred weapons. One had to know that hunting for metal beast cores in Myriad Goldstar, a level 5 void god realm wild beast core, was only worth 80 divine gems. But a lower rank 5 sacred weapon long spear cost 3,000 divine gems. Of course, refining a sacred weapon, the refining materials used could not be just one type. It required a combination of many materials and also the refining cost. In the end, Lu Ming chose a lower rank 6 sacred weapon long spear, meteor spear. It cost 7,000 divine gems. These divine gems aren't enough. Lu Ming sighed. Previously, when he broke through to 4-star Heavenly Emperor, he used around 5,000 divine gems. Now, he spent another 7,000. 40,000 divine gems, only 28,000 remained. Chapter 2602. Miss, do you have divine weapon fragments for sale here? Lu Ming put away the meteor spear and asked again. Of course we do. What grade of divine weapon fragments do you need? Different grades of divine weapon fragments have different prices, the young woman said. Low-tier divine artifact shard. Any grade will do, Lu Ming said. Then, with the young woman's introduction, Lu Ming bought a large number of divine weapon fragments. As expected of Cloud Peak City, there were so many divine weapon fragments here that they could be piled up like a mountain. Moreover, the price was indeed cheap. Not to mention divine weapons, it was much cheaper than divine weapon materials. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and spent another 10,000 divine gems to buy a large number of divine gems of various grades. It was enough for Qiuqiu to eat for a while. Lu Ming's divine gems shrunk again, leaving him with only 18,000 divine gems. I have to think of a way to earn some divine gems, Lu Ming muttered. 18,000 divine gems were simply not enough for him. As his cultivation increased, he would need even more divine gems when he broke through in the future. The two had bought everything they needed. They walked out of the shop and planned to take the teleportation formation back. Tong Xie, and you brat, suddenly, an ear-piercing and resentful voice sounded. Lu Ming turned around to take a look. He could not help but reveal a cold smile at the corners of his lips. What a coincidence, he ran into an old acquaintance. Behind him were two young men. One of them was the young master of Yuan Luo Palace, Kang Long. At this moment, Kang Long was staring at Lu Ming with resentment. Back then, he had been captured by Lu Ming and handed over to the righteous army as a hostage. This matter was a great humiliation to him. He hated Lu Ming to the core and always wanted to take revenge on Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming was hiding in the righteous army and he could not do anything. He did not expect to meet him in Cloud Peak City. Kang Long, Situ Xiao. Tong Xie's eyes flashed as she recognized the two. Brat, I'll tear you to pieces sooner or later. Kang Long's eyes were cold and full of cold killing intent as he stared at Lu Ming. If it wasn't for the fact that killing was prohibited in Cloud Peak City, he would have killed Lu Ming long ago. A loser like you dares to spout nonsense here? Who doesn't know how to brag? Lu Ming glanced at Kang Long, full of contempt. As soon as Kang Long thought about being captured and imprisoned by Lu Ming for several months, his anger soared to the heavens and he gnashed his teeth. Seeing Lu Ming's contemptuous look, he wished he could slap Lu Ming to death. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Kang Long's body and pressed down on Lu Ming. Level 1 Empty God Realm. It was apparent that Kang Long had broken through to Empty God Realm from Demigod. The commotion attracted the attention of the passers-by, who looked over to watch the show. You want to fight? Come on. Lu Ming hooked his finger. He didn't believe that Kang Long would dare to fight in Cloud Peak City. If he did, he would be digging his own grave. Brat, I'll challenge you to a fight in the fighting ring. Kang Long stared at Lu Ming angrily. You loser, I'm not interested. Lu Ming curled his lips and Kang Long was furious. After taking a few deep breaths, Kang Long forced himself to calm down and said, "You're the one who doesn't dare." Previously, he had been defeated by Lu Ming because he had been careless. Now that he had broken through to level 1 empty god realm, his combat strength had increased tremendously. He was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. "You don't have to provoke me. I'm not interested in a loser. If there's nothing else, get out of my way." Lu Ming waved his hand casually. He was telling the truth. Kang Long's cultivation was only at level 1 empty god realm and he could suppress him easily. He was not interested. However, Lu Ming kept calling him a loser. In Kang Long's ears, this was simply the greatest insult to him. Kang Long's face turned red and he gritted his teeth. "Since you're not going to fight with Brother Kang, I'll challenge you. Do you dare to fight?" At this moment, the young man beside Kang Long spoke. He had a fair complexion and he was fanning himself with a fan in his hand. He had a confident smile on his face. "Lu Ming, this is the young sect leader of Walkabout sect, Sichu Xiao. He's at level 2 empty god realm." Tong Xie sent a message to Lu Ming. Walkabout sect was a force that was similar to Yuan Luo Hall and the Zhengtian military. "You want to challenge me?" Lu Ming looked at Sichu Xiao. "That's right. Do you dare? If you don't, I won't make things difficult for you," Sichu Xiao said with a fake smile. "To be honest, I'm not interested in you either. With your cultivation, I can suppress you easily." Lu Ming curled his lips. Sichu Xiao's eyelids twitched and he stopped fanning himself. A cold killing intent shot out from his eyes. Lu Ming actually said that he could suppress him with a flip of his hand. What a joke. He could clearly feel that Lu Ming was only at the transformation void martial stage. A transformation void martial stage martial artist dared to speak so arrogantly. He was simply courting death. "However, if you dare to make a bet with me, I can fight with you." Lu Ming paused for a moment and continued. "Bet? How?" Sichu Xiao asked. 20,000 divine gems. Each of us will take out 20,000 divine gems. Whoever wins will take the other party's 20,000 divine gems. How about that? Lu Ming said. 20,000 divine gems. Sichu Xiao's face changed slightly. 20,000 divine gems was not a small amount. "What? You don't dare to bet? Then forget it." Lu Ming's face was full of contempt as he turned around to leave. "I'll bet 20,000 divine gems," Sichu Xiao said. He did not think that he would lose at all. Hence, he agreed without hesitation. "All right. Let's go to the fighting ring," Lu Ming said. Immediately, Lu Ming, Tong Xie, Kang Long, and Sichu Xiao headed to the fighting ring nearby. "Let's go and have a look. That young man is only at the transformation void martial stage. He dares to challenge a level 2 empty god realm genius. Interesting." The people nearby followed Lu Ming and the others. Soon, they arrived at a fighting ring nearby. The fighting ring was surrounded by people. "Take out 20,000 divine gems. I need a middleman to prevent you from reneging on your debt." Lu Ming looked at Sichu Xiao. "How can I lose?" "Ridiculous," Sichu Xiao sneered. "That's hard to say. How would you know if we haven't fought?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. He then looked around and said, "Which senior can be the middleman? I'll do it." A silver-haired elder walked out and a powerful aura exuded from his body. Level 9 empty god realm. Many people's faces changed. In the chaotic galaxy, a true god realm expert was definitely an expert. A level 9 empty god realm expert was the backbone of many forces. "All right. Thank you, senior." Lu Ming handed a storage ring to the silver-haired elder. There were 20,000 divine gems in the ring. Lu Ming did not have enough divine gems to pay 20,000 divine gems. On the way, he borrowed another 2,000 from Tong Xie. Chapter 2603. "Mph, that's good too." Sichu Xiao snorted. He took out a storage ring and passed it to the silver-haired elder. The silver-haired elder scanned the storage ring with his spiritual senses and said, There are 20,000 divine gems in each ring. The winner will get the divine gems. Young man, come up, Sichu Xiao said coldly as he stepped onto the fighting ring. Lu Ming flew onto the fighting ring and stood opposite Sichu Xiao. That young man is only at the transformation void martial realm and he dares to challenge a level 2 empty god. Does he have something to rely on? I can't figure it out. The difference between the transformation void martial realm and the empty god realm is too big. Even if he is a supreme talent, it would be hard for him to challenge someone of a higher realm. His opponent is Sichu Xiao. I have heard that he is also a supreme talent with royal grade divine force. Does that mean that the young man is going to lose? I don't know. I can't figure it out either. Let's wait and see. Many people were discussing among themselves. However, most of them felt that Lu Ming was no match for Sichu Xiao. After all, the transformation void martial realm was the first step of cultivation and the empty god realm was the second step of cultivation. It was only a step away, but the difference was like heaven and earth. Unless he was a supreme talent, he would not be able to overcome it. However, the chaotic galaxy was such a small place. How could there be such a supreme talent? However, some of them felt that Lu Ming was confident. Since he dared to accept the challenge, he must have something to rely on. They were curious about what Lu Ming was relying on. Everyone stared at the two of them on the fighting ring. Young man, I will make you kneel down in 3 moves. There was a strong murderous intent in Sichu Xiao's eyes. His figure swayed and he appeared in front of Lu Ming like a fleeting shadow. He lifted one hand and pressed it down. Divine power whizzed and pressed toward Lu Ming like a mountain. He wanted to force Lu Ming to kneel down on the spot. Sichu Xiao was full of confidence. He was a supreme talent and he had royal-grade divine force. His strength was much stronger than those at the same level as him. Even a level 2 empty god would not be able to withstand his attack. However, Lu Ming's expression did not change. He pointed his finger like a sword and stabbed it towards Sichu Xiao's palm. You are courting death. Then I'll break your fingers. Sichu Xiao grinned malevolently and added more strength. Bang! Lu Ming's finger collided with Sichu Xiao's palm, causing a violent explosion. Force qi spread out in all directions, and a figure was forced to retreat 5 or 6 steps before he could stabilize himself. The one who retreated was naturally Sichu Xiao. How is this possible? Many people around them were shocked. Lu Ming actually repelled Sichu Xiao in 1 move. This simply exceeded everyone's expectations. It was unbelievable that a transformation void martial stage martial artist could defeat a level 2 void god stage genius with 1 move. Sichu Xiao probably underestimated his opponent and didn't use his full strength, but this is still extremely shocking. Someone sighed. At this moment, Sichu Xiao was also extremely shocked. His palm was pierced by Lu Ming's finger, and he felt waves of pain. Earlier, he had indeed underestimated his opponent. He had only used 70% of his strength, but it was still extremely shocking. One had to know that he was in control of king-grade divine power. This brat is a demon. Today, I'll destroy him, Sichu Xiao roared in his heart. He unleashed all of his strength and charged towards Lu Ming. Good timing. Lu Ming was fearless. He unleashed all of his strength as well. His entire body was filled with dazzling purplish gold radiance as he charged towards Sichu Xiao. Boom! 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 The two of them clashed continuously and fought fiercely. For a moment, it was hard to determine the victor. Although Sichu Xiao's cultivation level was at level 2 void god stage, his divine power was king-grade divine power. It was extremely dense and his attack power was strong. His strength was enough to fight against a level 3 void god stage existence. As for Lu Ming, he was a 4-star heavenly emperor. Without activating the battle character manual to double his combat power, he could also fight against a level 3 void god stage existence. Hence, for a moment, it was hard to determine the victor. It seems like there's a difference in strength between king-grade divine power. As they fought, Lu Ming pondered. Tong Xie also controlled king-grade divine power. However, Lu Ming felt that Tong Xie was stronger than Sichu Xiao when they were at the same level. There was a difference in strength between king-grade divine power. Bam! 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 The two of them exchanged more than 10 blows, but it was still hard to determine the victor. How can this be? How can he be so strong? Sichu Xiao roared in his heart. At that moment, he was anxious. He no longer wanted to make Lu Ming kneel down. He only wanted to win. Otherwise, the 20,000 divine gems would be gone. Below the fighting ring, the one who was most shocked was Kang Long. His face was pale without a trace of blood. He could not stop muttering, "How can this be? How can this brat be so strong? Damn it, D*MN it." At the same time, he was scared. Luckily, Lu Ming did not agree to fight with him. Otherwise, he would lose badly. "I hope Sichu Xiao can defeat him," Kang Long prayed in his heart. It was a pity that his wish was destined to fail. "Is this all you've got? Let's end this." Lu Ming's voice resounded. At the same time, his power suddenly surged. The battle character manual had activated the double combat strength. After activating the double combat strength, Lu Ming's combat strength was enough to fight with a level 4 empty god realm martial artist. Sichu Xiao was no match for him. Boom! Lu Ming threw out a punch. The terrifying force of the punch was like an avalanche as it pressed down on Sichu Xiao. Crack! Sichu Xiao's arm was broken by Lu Ming's punch. Sichu Xiao's body retreated and he vomited blood. Bam! Lu Ming took a step forward and continued to attack. Sichu Xiao took out a sacred weapon to counterattack. However, he was sent flying by Lu Ming in a few moves. "Kneel down," Lu Ming shouted coldly. He lifted his hand and pressed it down. The sovereign's power formed a huge palm and pressed down on Sichu Xiao. Sichu Xiao roared and resisted with all his might. However, he was no match for Lu Ming. He could not block Lu Ming's power. Boom! A powerful force acted on Sichu Xiao's body. His body arched and with a loud thud, he knelt on the ground in front of Lu Ming. "Ah!" Sichu Xiao roared like a madman. He, the dignified walkabout sect young lord, was actually kneeling in front of Lu Ming. He was so mad that he could not wait to grind Lu Ming's bones into dust. "What are you shouting for? A defeat is a defeat. What's the use of shouting?" Lu Ming shouted. Sichu Xiao's body was sent flying out of the fighting stage. He vomited blood and could not get up for a long time. Lu Ming did not kill Sichu Xiao because there was no need to. Furthermore, if he really did kill Sichu Xiao, the walkabout sect would probably go crazy and attack the righteous army with all their might. Defeated, Sichu Xiao was defeated. A transformation void martial artist can defeat a level 2 empty god realm genius. How is this possible? Sovereign's power. It's the sovereign's power. He controls the sovereign's power. What? It's the sovereign's power. No wonder. The scene was noisy. Many people recognized Lu Ming's power. It was the sovereign's power. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.